All right, let's jump straight in because we've got an absolute masterpiece of a match to break down for you today. Welcome to the Explainer. We're looking at the stunning 1-1 draw between Portugal and DR Congo from the 2026 World Cup down in Houston. Whether you were screaming at the TV live or you're just catching up on the shockwaves this sent through the entire tournament, we are going to unpack exactly how this historic upset unfolded. We'll look at the tactics, the rising tensions, and the pivotal turning points that totally define this game. So, let's get right into it.
Here is our quick roadmap for this explainer. 1. A historic clash in Houston. 2. Portugal's expected early breakthrough. 3. Wisa's stoppage time stunner. 4. Disallowed goals and rising tensions. And finally, 5. Congo's historic first point.
Section 1. A historic clash in Houston, the heavyweights versus the underdogs.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer contrast in expectations right before kickoff. On paper, it's a total mismatch. On one side, you've got Portugal. They are the heavy favorites, loaded with attacking talent and led, of course, by the tournament's oldest squad member, Cristiano Ronaldo, who is basically carrying the weight of history on his shoulders. On the flip side, you have DR Congo. They might not have the same global star power, but man, they are built like an absolute fortress. Seriously, they conceded a meager 6 goals during their entire qualifying run. So, right from the opening whistle, we're looking at an unstoppable force slamming into an immovable object.
Section 2. Portugal's expected early breakthrough, the giant strikes.
So, when you're playing a low block against a powerhouse like Portugal, survival is the name of the game. But honestly, for the first few minutes, the script seemed to be going exactly as everyone predicted. Portugal's attack was literally surgical. It happens in a flash. Step 1, Mendes Neto makes this incredibly dynamic run down the wing, injecting pure pace. Step 2, he whips in this exquisite, incredibly dangerous delivery right into the mixer. And step 3, Shawnez, who is completely unmarked by the way, darts in front of the defense to finish it off beautifully. Just a fast-paced, clinical strike exactly like you'd expect from a tournament favorite.
But listen, don't let that smooth goal fool you, because the physicality was completely off the charts right out of the gate. The pace was frantic and the collisions were heavy. In fact, Bernardo Silva finds himself in the referee's book super early. He commits a really hard straight-leg foul, and the ref has absolutely no choice but to brandish a yellow card. It was a massive statement from DR Congo. They were turning this into a dogfight, and you could tell Portugal was already feeling the heat.
Section 3. Wisa's stoppage time stunner, the turning point.
Okay, let's slow things down for a second and look at exactly how this sucker punch was delivered right before the halftime whistle. The momentum shift here is just crazy. 45th minute, DR Congo wins a corner. Standard stuff, right? But then, at 45+1, instead of just launching it into the box, they opt for a short corner. This is the genius part. By playing it short, they force the Portuguese defense to physically step out and shift their shape. That tiny little window opens up, and at 45+2, Yoane Wissa pounces. He executes this perfectly timed, snapped header to equalize. The tactical awareness to pull the defense out of position and capitalize like that, absolutely brilliant.
And you don't even need to look at the stats to know how much that hurt. The quote, dismay from Cristiano Ronaldo tells you everything you need to know. You could visibly see the captain's total frustration as they walked into the tunnel tied 1-1. All of Portugal's early dominance was basically wiped out by one perfectly executed set piece.
Section 4. Disallowed goals and rising tensions. The siege.
So we roll into the second half, and almost immediately, there's a moment that makes the entire stadium hold its breath. And everyone's wondering the exact same thing. Did Portugal just steal the lead back?
Well, no. The offside flag goes up. João Cancelo pulls off this spectacular, acrobatic finish that belongs in a highlight reel, but it simply will not count. Talk about a momentum killer. You could literally feel the air get sucked right out of Portugal's sails.
And it's fascinating to watch how that disallowed goal completely fractures the game. Look at the contrast here. On the Portuguese side, they start getting incredibly sloppy in front of their own goal. You've got this mounting wall of frustration. Ronaldo missing chances he usually buries. Bruno Fernandes getting bodied off the ball. Now compare that to DR Congo. They weren't just parking the bus anymore. They were creating their own chances, staying rigidly compact on defense, and just flat out refusing to break under the pressure.
Naturally, as the clock ticks down, the desperation kicks in, and discipline goes right out the window. The Portuguese bench is absolutely up in arms, screaming over every decision. Players are swarming the referee. It actually gets so bad the fourth official has to step in and literally act as a barricade. Nelson Semedo picks up a yellow card, adding to their problems, and we even get a touchline altercation between DR Congo's Charles Pickle and a Portuguese sub. I mean, the match had turned into a complete and total pressure cooker.
Section 5. Congo's historic first point, the triumph.
After all the fireworks, the yellow cards, and the frantic, relentless pressure from Portugal in those dying minutes, the final whistle blows. And it all boils down to this single, monumental number, 1.
Because that 1 represents pure history. This 1-1 draw secured DR Congo's very first goal and their very first point at a FIFA World Cup, against a massive tournament favorite no less. They absorbed that terrifying early storm, executed a flawless tactical corner, and then stood like a brick wall against one of the most talented squads on the planet. It's a remarkably hard-earned achievement.
Which really leaves us with this huge, lingering question to wrap up our explainer. After such a highly frustrating, chaotic start, how on earth does a rattled Portugal regroup for their next match? And on the flip side, just how far can this historic wave of momentum carry DR Congo? It's the absolute beauty of the World Cup, captured perfectly in 90 minutes. Thanks so much for hanging out with me to break this all down, and definitely keep your eyes peeled to see where this wild tournament goes next.